Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Here's a complete breakdown of everything Joe Biden just required. Number one, he is requiring every business with 100 employees or more to require that their workers are vaccinated or have a negative COVID test once per week. He says that companies like United, Fox News, Disney, United Airlines that is, have already required this, but at this point it's time for a blanket mandate to essentially say that businesses should and will require COVID vaccines if they have 100 or more employees, or a negative test per week. Now, I believe that there are going to be some medical exemptions, but what those are going to be are unclear at this point. Joe Biden does also mention that any federal worker will not have the option to just test. Any federal worker or federal contractor who works for the federal government will be required to be vaccinated. Joe Biden says if you want to work with us, you have to get vaccinated. Joe Biden says that the Department of Labor will also be requiring that businesses provide paid time off to individuals so that they can get vaccinated or they can bring their loved one to get vaccinated. Joe Biden is expecting this will affect 80 to 100 million Americans, requiring them or encouraging them in the cases of, for example, with businesses where you could just test per week, to get vaccinated. That's because it's kind of annoying to get vaccinated once or to get tested once a week. It doesn't feel good. It's a hassle. And so the thinking here is that a lot of folks will be motivated in the private sector to just get vaccinated. But again, federal government workers and contractors for the federal government will be required to get vaccinated. Jen Psaki said, hey, well, what happens if somebody doesn't get vaccinated then? Well, she says they will be essentially sent through the human resources process where they will be counseled, disciplined, and ultimately if they don't get vaccinated, they'll be fired. They'll get terminated if you don't get vaccinated. Now, Joe Biden did go on to say that the next step will be making sure that boosters can be provided for free starting as early as September 20th. We did hear Moderna earlier today mention they plan to have their COVID boosters incorporated into the flu vaccine, or an option for that in the future. Next step is Joe Biden plans to make sure that schools and federal-related schools require vaccinations for teachers. Those are going to be Department of Defense schools and Bureau of Indian Affairs operated schools. And Joe Biden is asking that states adopt the same requirements that all school employees get vaccinated. Joe Biden slammed governors who are picking fights with these vaccine or mask mandates. And Joe Biden says that he is going to use his power as president to get those governments out of the way if governors are leading their government to stand in the way of people getting vaccinated or being masked. He says that the federal government will restore 100% of any pay withheld for teachers who lost pay because they were cooperating with mask or vaccine requirements, and then a governor of a certain state withheld their pay for enforcing these sorts of requirements. So Joe Biden's essentially backdooring certain governors who are trying to make it easy for folks to essentially skirt the COVID requirements. On the next step, which obviously there's some folks who are really happy about what those governors are doing, and there's some folks who are really, really upset about what those governors are doing, especially a lot of the folks who have lost loved ones or people they're associated with. On masks, Joe Biden plans to expand free testing, distribute rapid tests at food banks, schools, community health centers, plans to double TSA fines for those who refuse to wear a mask. He says show some respect also at the airports. The anger you see basically directed at flight attendants on airplanes is wrong and it's ugly. Again, encourages people to show some respect for people just doing their job. Says that he is fighting states that, or will be fighting states that block local mask mandates, and he supports the FDA, or will support the FDA getting the vaccine ready as soon as possible for children under 12, but says the best thing for children under 12 is that everyone around them, parents, caretakers, adults, seniors, whatever, everybody get vaccinated. He says that's the best case scenario for protecting children under 12. Vaccinate as many people as possible. He also plans to utilize the Defense Production Act to increase the supply of at-home tests, and will now, with dealers like Kroger, Amazon, and Walmart, those were the ones he mentioned, will be providing or establishing a way for these businesses to provide at-home rapid tests at cost immediately. So that way the price of at-home rapid tests, which you could do yourself and put into sort of a little kit and it changes color if you have COVID, he expects that these kits will drop in price about 35% very soon. Also plans to expand COVID testing at pharmacies. On EIDL loans, they are expected to change the max borrowing amount on EIDL loans. This is not PPP loans. EIDL loans from $500,000 to $2 million, and allow these loans to be used, these low interest loans with no payments for the first 2 years, to be used to hire employees, retain employees, purchase inventory, purchase equipment, or even refinance higher interest rate debt. That's pretty big. So the EIDL loans, it's not free money, they just got a lot more flexible. He mentions that right now, 80% of those applying for EIDL loans are small businesses with less than 25 employees. Says no repayment will be due until 2 years after funding. So from the day you get the money, 2 years thereafter is when you have to start making payments again. This changes things, by the way, for EIDL. On the PPP, Joe Biden mentions that it will now be easier to streamline your PPP forgiveness is if you had a loan or PPP loan of less than $150,000. He expects that it'll take just 6 minutes to complete the forgiveness process. 60% of individuals have already completed their process on their phones, so it's super easy to do. There are 2 ways you can do this. One, and it depends on your lender. One is through your lender. So you can always apply through your lender, and then you fill out the SBA form 3508, 3508EZ, or 3508S, or whatever form your lender uses. Alternatively, a lot of lenders are just allowing you to apply for forgiveness directly with the SBA's portal. And you could find that portal. I made a redirect. It's not like an affiliate link or whatever. It's just a redirect. If you go to metkevin.com/forgiveness, it will automatically redirect you to the Welcome to the SBA PPP Direct Forgiveness Pool or your portal, and you can start your request there. You could also Google that if you want. The page you're looking for looks a lot like this right here. Actually, this is the page that you'll be redirected to if you go to metkevin.com/forgiveness. That's, of course, different from metkevin.com/life, where you can get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes in a pandemic. That's linked down below. Joe Biden further says that he plans to double COVID surge teams, increase monoclonal antibody access to treat people who get sick with COVID. Those are the cocktails, like the Regeneron cocktails, to help people who do end up getting sick with COVID. He's appealing to theaters and concert venues to require vaccines or negative tests as a condition of entry. He suggests that this is not about personal choice. This is about protecting you and those around you, keeping children safe, and getting as many people tested and vaccinated as possible to finally end this pandemic. He also mentions, hold on. Actually, here's something from a senior Biden administration official. Businesses that ignore mandatory vaccine or testing policies once in place could trigger penalties of up to $14,000 per violation. Worth noting. Okay, folks, check out that life insurance link down below at metkevin.com/life. Thank you very much for watching this recap. Hope you found it useful and helpful. Consider subscribing to the channel, and folks, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.